Good afternoon everybody and welcome to the stream. I'm Robert from the El Magnifico Games channel, and today we're going to continue with a playthrough of the Talos Principle 2. Now we're we're well into the game now. We haven't reached the halfway point, I don't think, but we've been playing it for a few streams. We've uncovered a lot of the lore. Unfortunately, this game is a sequel to... This game both has a lot of lore and is the sequel to another game which had a lot of lore, which we've also played. And there is so much lore that I can't feasibly tell you everything now. But I will give you the brief version. We are an android. Homo sapiens are extinct. The last thing the Homo sapiens did before going extinct was they... Well, I say the last thing, of course, we're talking about a whole species, but one very important thing that some people did was they built some android bodies, stuck them in some sort of storage facility, set up a supercomputer that was using an evolutionary algorithm to develop more and more intelligent AIs. And then when the supercomputer was satisfied that certain tests had been passed, it would upload those AIs, or rather a combination of those AIs, It was a evolutionary genetic algorithm, I believe, into the bodies, or the android bodies that they'd stored, and that's how human culture has survived in the form of these androids. We are ourselves. Well, the first android that was woken up took the name Athena, and that was actually the character from the first game. As far as I can tell, that is the only android that actually has a consciousness that was from the first game. The rest are all, as I say, like genetically produced combinations of other ones, other final generation AIs. That was the first android that woke up. They woke up a bunch of other androids. The first android, Athena, was known as the Founder, and the next 12 were known as the Companions, because for a long time they were the only ones that were around, trying to establish a civilization, and ultimately get to the point where they could build more of themselves. A lot happened, but apparently the Founder said that they should only ever build at most... they should try to build 1,000 androids. It's not clear whether she meant that as a maximum, or if she just meant that as an aspiration. But, oh, hey Jade, it's lovely to meet you. I hope you're having a good day. And yes, I agree, the music is very good. Sorry, I was so busy monologuing that I didn't see your comment. That was very, very bad of me. So, it's a pleasure to meet you. What was I thinking? Yes, so the Founder apparently said that we should aspire to have, or we should try to get to the point where we have 1,000 androids, and then she disappeared off on her own. We are Android 1000. Our birthday was also known as Completion Day, because that was the completion of the goal. And the androids that are left in New Jerusalem, that's what they called the city, are of the opinion that that was intended as like a maximum number, and now we've reached the population limit. But there's problems. They've become so conservative that they aren't going around exploring and exploiting new resources or anything like that. They're having major energy problems. And although the population overall seems committed to the idea of... Okay, this is new. I didn't know this was here. Although the population on average seems to be going along with this idea that they should be very conservative, very environmentally friendly, not go over 1,000 people, there are those that think differently and think that they're ultimately setting themselves up for disaster. Anyway, that's basically the backstory of the game. Oh yeah, one other thing. On completion day, they were suddenly contacted by a giant hologram that claimed to be Prometheus, before they were interrupted by another figure that went by the name Pandora. Now, those are both obviously figures from Greek mythology. They're obviously just taking their names from those figures. But the point is that they became aware that there was another civilization, which was very strange because there shouldn't have been. They went to investigate, and they found these ruins which contained much more advanced technology than anything they had. And in the last few streams, the thing that we have established is that apparently Athena, after she disappeared, came here, built herself a daughter named Miranda, and as far as we can tell, they built all this. But they're also, as I say, much more technologically advanced than we are. We've also had some run-ins with Prometheus. Actually, not Prometheus, we haven't seen him again, but we've met the Sphinx and we've met Pandora on more than one occasion, the holograms. Whether they actually are other androids that have been built, or there's something else entirely, we're not sure. But they don't seem happy that we're here. They don't seem happy at all, which is very odd. That this civilization would apparently be isolationist. And we haven't actually, as I say, met anyone in person yet, only holograms. Still, yeah, that took me a long time to recap, and I still feel like I'm only scratching the surface. There is so much lore in this game. Anyway, let's get into it. As I say, I have just discovered this, and I didn't know this was here. Okay. Right. Right. I think I know what this is. It's a combination lock. And I seem to remember we were given like a series of numbers earlier on in a different area. I don't know if that's connected to that particular puzzle or not. But there was like, when we were just walking around in one of the less snowy areas, we came across just a bunch of numbers that were written down on a panel. I wonder if that could be the combination for that combination lock. That's very interesting. If I'm right about that being a combination lock at least. Anyway, let's carry on. Right, 5 is this way. Apparently. What? Oh, down here. I see. How are you today, Jade? If you don't mind my asking. Before I go in, I do want to check around the outside. Yeah, nothing on the outside of this one so far as I can tell. We can make it back up safely. Good. Right, on to number 5. The gift. These puzzles have involved having, there we go, multiple bodies. Wait, what? I see. So I need to get the cube up here. Right, and presumably if I were to jump down here, it would be a challenge to get back up. Well, we'll see. Okay. I may have already made a mistake. We'll see. Interesting. That'll let us up. Right, and then we hand the box over, I suppose. That's probably the idea. If we're allowed to do that. I don't know if we are or not. I think we can take things out of the hands of other bodies, but that may be too far. We could hand the connector over possibly if this extra height makes a difference. Oops. It does. That's a puzzle solved. Excellent.
I can't imagine spending years in such a desolate place. For what? Science? Enlightenment? I'd much rather be back home in New Jerusalem.
I think it's beautiful in its own way. But I don't understand how our ancestors could survive here. They were so fragile. Imagine getting stuck out here in the cold. I wonder if there are wolves.
It's kind of a miracle biological humans lasted as long as they did.
Yes, when they said ancestors, they were referring to Homo sapiens, biological humans as they put it. Oh, hello there. Almost looked like you had a slight limp then.
Yes?
Did you ever meet the founder?
Of course I did. She and Cornelius were both there when I was born. Neath was just starting to take over back then, and they were still showing her the ropes.
What was the founder like?
Busy. There was always another problem to solve. Did you know that she never upgraded her body? Always prioritized everyone else. That's the kind of work ethic I wish more people had.
Blimey. I agree, but there also needs to be space for other things in life.
I suppose so. For me, living is doing. But I understand that other people have more varied needs.
Do you ever crave companionship?
I've never felt the need for a partner as such. I've met a lot of people who do. Athena and Cornelius, Atal and Damien,
Oh, that's new.
Sarabai and Hypatia. But that's not really for me. So far, at least. But I do have social needs like anyone. What I like is a pleasant buzz of humanity. Not too close, not too far. Something I can be part of without having it get in my face all the time.
Interesting. Right, we did not know that Athena and Cornelius were a couple. What happened to Cornelius then? When the founder left? Or was he one of the ones that died in New Alexandria? And we've read quite a lot of Hypatia's work. She turns up in the books quite a lot. And Sarabai, I think, was one of the companions that disappeared. Could these visions affect my mind?
The data stream overloads? Yes, they could. There are safeguards to prevent that from happening. But these aren't exactly carefully controlled circumstances. It's hard to predict. Our brains are absurdly complicated, which is why it's so hard to make more of us.
Interesting. Why do you think the founder left New Jerusalem?
Maybe she just got sick of things breaking all the time.
So what exactly can these particle clouds do?
As far as I can tell, anything, which is insane.
Interesting. How do you feel about Mayor Herman's policies?
I used to think it was the only safe way forward. Keep things simple and under control. Now I'm not so sure that ever made sense.
Interesting. What do you think about Miranda?
She's so innocent and full of wonder, it should make me want to retch, metaphorically speaking. But I'll admit, she's sort of charming.
I should get back to work. Six is this way. Ooh, another lore dump. On Cornelius. Author error. From the personal reminiscences of Mitku. There are some people whose true importance you just don't notice at first. People who quietly hold things together without making a big deal of it. That's what Cornelius was. Always by Athena's side. He calmly and carefully helped us all stay on track, reminding us of our shared humanity and the values that had brought us this far. Why'd I get the feeling this is an epitaph? I can't imagine how painful it must have been when Athena left him behind. When he went on his so-called research expedition, most people thought he went looking for her. To be honest, I thought he might never come back, and I was surprised when he finally did. I still don't understand how she could leave him. They seemed to love each other so deeply. After he returned, Cornelius was different. He founded the Museum of the Simulation and very rarely left its premises. The archive scholars doted on him, but he walled himself off, becoming almost as much of a recluse as Eustachius. And only then did I slowly understand how much the city had lost. Interesting. Maybe we did meet him. Blake. God appears and God is light. I was going to say, is this William Blake, the poet? God appears and God is light to those poor souls who dwell in night, but does a human form display to those who dwell in realms of day? Right, looks like we've got more transliterating to do. Right. 49 6E 20746865 2065 6E 6420 6C 6F76 6520697320 6C 20776520 6861 7665 2C 20 62 75 7420 6966 20776520 6C 6F 6665 20 616E 6F 746865722062 569 6E 67207765206075 737420746872 6F 7567 6820 7468 65 6D 206C 6F76 6520 6875 6D 61 6E 69 7479 20 69 74 73 65 6C 66 2E. In the end, love is all we have, but if we love another being, we must, through them, love humanity itself. There we go. That's what it says. Read 30 texts on terminals. Lord of the Files. Excerpt from Considerations by Eustathius. While it is hard, from our vantage point, to fully believe in any of the ancient religions, I must admit that I have come to believe in the existence of a prime mover, not a designer as such, certainly not an interventionist god, but some force that set the universe itself into motion. I do not know if it is possible for us to ever truly understand this being, since it must by definition exist outside our understanding of reality, but I do believe that it exists. Does it look upon us with love? Are we entertainment, perhaps? Does it perceive some memory of us when we die? All of this I cannot answer, but I do not disbelieve those who honestly speak of having experienced some manner of brief communion with this entity. It's simply too common an experience in human history to easily discount. As the motion of the universe proceeds from the Big Bang, so whatever force animates us, whatever constitutes the true foundation of consciousness, proceeds from the prime mover. Miranda, what do you think about this, Mother? Athena, I don't believe in any kind of prime mover, but I thought you should read it because Eustathius is an intelligent person and he came to this conclusion after a great deal of thought. It is important to respectfully consider points of view we don't agree with. That is incredibly well put. I also note that Athena's profile hasn't been deleted or corrupted, which is very interesting. From the Book of Annotated Internet Comments by Eustathius on modernity. If modernity is so great, why is everyone so fundamentally disappointed with the world? Why do we sigh with pleasure at the sight of old houses, but feel nothing but depressed and alienated by skyscrapers? Why do we yearn for lush forests and wide plains, not narrow canyons between buildings? That looks like there may be some more transliteration to do. We love all this technology so much. Why is our idea of happiness to get away from it? Could it be that progress is just a story we tell ourselves to justify why we allow ourselves to be dominated by inhumanity and older forms of living have something to offer? It seems that many of us share this desire to immerse ourselves in nature, though we ourselves entirely technological beings. We enjoy and value the Earth's diverse and unpredictable biosphere. But does that mean that progress is just a narrative, as this ancient commenter suggests, or does it mean that technological progression and a love of the natural world are not in fact mutually exclusive? Failed to load profile, and yet if this person was left on his own somewhere in the wilderness, he would feel nothing but terror. The appreciation of nature is rooted in the experience of civilization, of safety. Do you think possibly that could be Cornelius's profile? Do you think he could have found her, spent some time with her, things didn't work out, and then he came back? True, but he's still right. So much of what our ancestors created in their last years was alienating to the majority of people. Then the question isn't one of modernity, but of control. Interesting. Not modernity, but control. I'm not entirely sure I get the point that they're making there. Is it who gets to control what gets built? Or have I fundamentally misunderstood? Oh, another hologram.
If we believe that life is inherently valuable, if we think that other species are worth preserving, and we recognize that most of the universe is barren, then it follows that we have a duty not only to defend life, but to spread it. If life is the most valuable thing in the universe, then perhaps, in a sense, the cosmos itself is depending on us to do this. Like birds carrying seeds to uninhabited islands. Maybe that's our role in the galactic ecology.
Uh-oh. I don't think this is going to go well for me. Although, what is that down there? I found something that I wasn't expecting to find. Huh. Tetrominoes falling. Well, that is really rather surprising. Although, an important question is, how do I get out of here now? Now that I've fallen. Wow, this is a much larger area than I thought it would be. I was told there was a run button, wasn't I? There it is. They've got two different sound effects for moving on snow, depending upon whether you use whether you're walking or running. That's some attention to detail there. I don't think it's just one's a sped up and slightly louder version of the first. I think it is actually...
There's an old saying about how, in the end, the sea will claim everything. I have no doubt that this is true. In the long history of the human species, entire regions have disappeared under the waves. Places like Beringia and Doggerland still echo in our cultural memories. But we shouldn't forget that life began in the sea. We are the children of the sea. And it's not through floods and ruin that the sea will claim everything, but through us.
Interesting. Still trying to find my way back. Goodness, what have I found? I think that probably is designed to help me get back up. But now I know that's there, I'm tempted to explore just slightly farther. Because you never know what could be round the next corner. All of this I would have missed if I hadn't fallen down. I mean, I know there's not a huge amount here, but... you know, in terms of interesting content so far. But I mean, someone still had to create all this. Some developers still had to create all this land. Developers. It's a big, significantly sized area that we would have just missed. Ah, I've just realised we're on an island, aren't we? I'm probably very, very slowly. If that's true, I can just go this way. I was going to say I'm probably very, very slowly going round the circumference of the island. But then it occurred to me, if that's the case, I can just reach the way back up by going round. I don't have to turn back. I just go all the way round. Oh, are we already all the way back? Surely not. No, that must be a different one. Because I don't think the ladder was at that angle before. Ah, here we go. I don't think we've seen that. Since we've been walking around the perimeter of the island. Oh, blimey. Found a guitar. Who left that there? We wouldn't have done so. That is our group, so that must have been left by Athena et al. Presumably. I don't think a guitar like that would have survived 1,000 years if it in these conditions if it had been left by a human. So it must have been taken by Athena at some point and then placed there, or someone else that was part of her party. We know Miranda was with her, and I'm suspecting that she probably had several other people with her. It's just not clear who. We're back round to the start? I think we are. I must admit, I'm not 100% sure. No, that still doesn't look right. Huh. A pink bench. Big island. That looks new. More lore. Goodness me, would have missed this. Chernovsky. From Arkady Chernovsky's In Our Likeness, Essays on Humankind Reaching Adulthood, with alarming frequency our mythological narratives conceptualize our separation from nature as a fall, a punishment for sinning, a loss of innocence, a decline from a golden age. We believe that a better state of humanity is possible, but insist that this state must be in the past, and yet our historical experience has been the exact opposite. For all the horrors of modern war, and they are considerable, relatively few people today have to suffer the unspeakable agonies that our ancestors went through on a daily basis. It is doubly ironic that we place our golden ages in the past, but very rarely ever consider what life was actually like for the people whose genes we carry. How cold they were, how hungry, how frightened of the cruelty of nature, what unspeakable pains they must have experienced when they were sick or injured, how many of the children they had to lose, unable to help, begging the heavens for mercy and never receiving an answer. Very good point. The past is slowly receding tidal wave of grief. The battle for human emancipation is not yet won, and the path has been far from straightforward. And yet, in but a few thousand years we have eliminated a great deal of suffering that before must have seemed unavoidable and eternal. Some still suffer, their lives held ransom by politics and economics, but at least now we know that a better world is truly possible, and it lies in the future. From Hypatia's Journals, Volume 1, The Founding of New Jerusalem, Day 132. We had a bit of an incident today. Nothing major, but it still woke us all up. Sun was away from the camp alone, even though we had agreed that we should always go in teams, and she encountered a group of herbivores that we saw on the first day. Cows, they're called. Apparently her ancestors kept them as livestock. Eustathius says they squeezed them for liquid, but I find that hard to believe. But I digress. Sun encountered a herd, and just as predicted, the animals were passive at first, friendly even. Sun decided to abandon her survey to study them for a while, which went well until a group of wolves, formerly dogs, a type of pet, entered the clearing, causing a stampede. Sun is alright, only minor scratches to the bodywork and a few torn wires, but it was a close call. futon wires would be annoying. That would be like having some nerves severed. Although I admit it would be easier to repair them. I guess we'd gotten a little complacent, a little too comfortable. We'll have to be more careful from now on. Uh, 8696 C6. Oh, sorry. I need to start at the top. I suspect there's an odd number of ASCII digits, in the top sequence of ASCII characters. It would be unusual to go above 7F if this is supposed to be ASCII, because that would be beyond the range of lower ASCII. Yeah, I thought so. There was indeed an odd number of digits. 6C, 64, 21, OA, 54, 6F, 2074, 68, 65, 20, 77, 61, 74, 65, 72, 73, 20, 61, 6E, 6420 74 68 6520 7769 6C64. Come away, O human child, to the waters and the wild. Come away, O human child. To the waters and the wild. That is largely iambic tetrameter. I think that might actually be from a real poem, not something the developers put together. In fact, I could just check, couldn't I?
Now, I have to talk science fiction for a bit because I love science fiction, but it drives me nuts. There's this cliche that shows up over and over, and every time someone uses it, everyone pretends it's really profound. It goes something like this. A scientist invents something good, but, oh no, it's actually really bad. You could have something that makes your life better, but no, you can't. How dare you even want it? That's hubris. That's playing God. And it's never anything that reflects the real world, right? It's never, oh no, you invented a vaccine for cervical cancer. Oh no, you invented a new class of antibiotics. Oh no, you cured malaria. How dare you? Those diseased mosquitoes are way more important than human lives. How did science fiction become so reactionary? You know, if we all thought this way, you guys wouldn't even exist. At least Alex agrees with me. She has good taste.
It's a good point. Unfortunately my browser's being slow. Sometimes it does that and it hangs for longer than it would in any way be reasonable. But a cursory look seems to suggest it may be a poem called The Stolen Child by W.B. Yeats. Come away, a human child, to the waters and the wild, with a fairy, hand in hand, for the world's more full of weeping than you can understand. Yeah, I thought so. It is a real poem. It's kind of sad, really, that just looking at just two lines, I could differentiate a real poem from back in a time when they actually cared about poetic form, from someone trying to make a to mimic poetry today. I was going to say mock poetry, but that could be taken to mean ridicule, which isn't what I meant at all. I miss the poetry streams. But alas, I'm the only one that does. Just a second, I wrote something down for my attention later. Oh, there's another fan. And that is, again, a different configuration of fan platform to any we've seen before. So we've certainly not come back to the start yet. God. Are we back round to the start now? I'm not sure that we are. We might be. That looks right. I don't see the path down that we would have taken unless it was much steeper than even I initially thought. Oh, it could have been down there actually. I don't see any sign of the structure at the top though that we were moving around when we fell. That looks quite likely. Although I don't remember the little wires. Ah! Should have been paying a bit more attention, shouldn't I? But that looks very much like the area we might have fallen down and then walked down. It's a lot more plausible. In fact, I think I remember that crest. So that must be the first one we encountered, I assume. It looks more like the second one. Oh well. I'm pretty sure we've been all the way round now. There we go. Blimey. Wait, what? Blimey. Very precisely tuned fan. Still, we've ended up where I had hoped we'd end up. We went on a bit of a pleasant little adventure, didn't we? The music is so good. Oh, hello there. Okay, nothing to say then. Alright, being a little more careful this time, how about we go around the other way? Okay, so much for being a little more careful. I'm probably going to fall down again the exact same way I did last time. No? Somehow I pulled it back. Okay. Right, two-body problem. Interesting. So that's where we're trying to get, so we need to get a blue signal there, that's the ultimate goal. We have a driller available to us, which presumably means that we can move items between the two characters. Probably. Such as that box. And the driller itself, actually. If needs be. Good thing nothing got buried in snow and ice that we need. I assume it didn't. Right, we have a red source there. Is that an inverter? No, that's just a connector. Ah, the blue's there. Well, that's interesting. What do I use the red for then? I don't know. There. Right, hopefully I can... No, I can't quite. I need to get the body in a position where I can see it from the platform that I need this one to stand on. There we go. Now it should be possible for me to connect up the red. think I see the solution here. No, I don't. Use the box to raise a connector, but I don't think I could get the signal over the top of one of these fences, even if I did. See, the issue is, this has to be down so that the signal can be passed through. Ah, but this doesn't need to be on. Right, so I can use the body of the character to lower one of those. Right, I get it. I'm still not seeing the precise angle. Oh wait, can I see? Oh, I can. Right, I get it. So I connect that up, and I connect that up, and that'll probably work. In fact, that might be done. Okay. I need you to stand more here if I want to have a chance of swapping bodies. Oh, that worked. I wasn't convinced it would. I was wondering if I was going to have to move the driller. Hold on, can I use the mouse to pursue more? There we go. Oh. And we're done. Figured that one out. Private message. Interesting. The founder Megafred, please keep discussions of the alleged presence of the founder at the site of the megastructure confined to this thread. I'm still in shock. I wasn't sure the founder was still alive. Of course she is. And now that we have reached completion day, she has sent us her sacred messengers. It could still be aliens pretending to be the founder. It's not aliens, and if Prometheus and Pandora are her sacred messengers, why has one apparently chained the other? The day of her return is imminent. Aurinia. So now you agree that Byron was right to want an expedition. In fact, it was the founder's will all along. And when you said it would be wrong to even consider going to this island, you were acting against the founder. Your word games aren't going to help you when the founder returns, Aurinia. Nyamph. It was wonderful to hear Athena's voice again, but with all the emotion inherent in this matter, we should be careful not to get swept away. We don't really understand anything yet. Skula. I can't help but wonder, if Miranda is her daughter, was Athena trying to start a new civilization? Did she abandon New Jerusalem? It's conceivable. She was always a leader. Maybe she just wanted to experience something private. She would never abandon New Jerusalem. We don't really have enough information yet. I mean, it's conceivable is technically accurate, but I feel like not the appropriate response. She's already a leader. Maybe she wanted to experience something private. A valid point. She had enormous responsibilities from the very beginning, and while we were her family, she had too many burdens to even have a private life of her own. I understand your point, but why leave Cornelius behind then? That's none of our business. Fair enough. Body replication. The technology discovered by the expedition changes everything. Every argument about how hard it is to get access to the resources necessary to create more of us goes out of the window. We can create more people, 1k doesn't have to be the last, and it would be easy. Are we going to give up just because of the goal? And it doesn't just come from nowhere. We have no idea what the real cost behind this technology is. Besides, the goal is an ideal, not just a limit we ran into by accident. It's the will of the founder. Yeah, right. It's not necessary to share a personal belief in the founder to understand the value of the goal. It's clear to all, but the most radical, that humanity needs limits for its own sake and for the sake of the planet. You say that as if it was self-evident. It's not. You're smuggling a whole host of misanthropic ideas into the conversation under the disguise of reasonableness. Your premises are completely rotten. I believe the results of human history speak for themselves, and I find it shocking that anyone would disagree with something so obvious. Zogaran. Shocking that anyone would value human beings and think that maybe our ancestors could have solved their problems using their brains instead of preaching misery for all. That maybe there is some point in blaming other factors beyond technology and growth. Like, I don't know people in the positions of authority preaching their self-important morality instead of trying to solve ordinary people's problems. Authority? I'm just an academic. That's completely disingenuous, and you know it. Your clique has the mayor's ear. Clique? I assure you, there's no such thing. This conversation is getting out of hand. If you can't behave, I'm shutting this thread down. These conversations are necessary. They should not be banned. This conversation is irritating, but should be allowed as a matter of principle. It would be best to close this thread until everyone calms down. Just take it private. I'm kind of between the first two. I feel like they shouldn't be... being quite so... quite so mean to each other. I don't think they should... I think the ad hominem needs to stop. But I do think that the basic premise here is correct. They are dealing with important subject matters that should be discussed. I can't just shut it down. Although we're not an authority, I don't know why they'd listen to us. These conversations are necessary. They should not be banned. Thank you, 1K. New Jerusalem is a democracy, and without free speech, democracy is a sham. A lovely statement, but you should try moderating this forum and see what it's like. If every conversation is allowed to explode, instability is guaranteed. We have to set reasonable limits on behaviour. Thread closed. Humble greetings, number 1000. This is Rand. Our friend Doge has assured me you're of sound moral character, and your insightful analysis when we met in the city draws me to the same conclusion. Oh, which one was Rand? Current archive scholar lead. I remember you. Yes, I'm sure we share a commitment to moral life. This matter demands that I be forthright. New Jerusalem requires strong moral guidance. Your expedition only makes it more urgent. We must end the incessant debate over the ethics of the go and focus on becoming the best people we can be. Life seems to be so complex, but I'm sure the answers are quite simple. Consider our species. Like our ancestors, we're just tubes with inputs and outputs. Yet we run on code so complex we barely understand it. But the answer is simple. Garbage in, garbage out. It's our moral duty to use our instinct for good inputs to correct the bad outputs. What are you suggesting? Is this an argument towards censorship and a Big Brother-like mentality? I need to hear more. Good, because I have a great deal more to discuss with you. But first, I'd like to answer any questions you may have about me. Who are you? Where are you? Why are you? I just want to know what you want with me. Who are you? although we have met. I'm one of the foremost scholars on the digital archive and the simulation which gave us life. Reading the code on which we run gives me insight which others lack on how we ought to live. Where are you? In my laboratory at the museum. Lately, I've been analysing the connection between our information libraries and the birthing algorithm. But I'm yet to find the pattern. Why are you? Answering that question is my life's work. We know our ancestors left behind a computer simulation with access to the archive, and the hope it would produce true sentience. And we are now here, and we are sentient. The real work is filling in the gaps, but the more code we unravel, the more clear it becomes that we exist for a reason. I just want to know what you want with me. My studies prove that we as a species are no accident. We're the outcome of billions of years of careful machinations. It is my firm belief that the big questions have answers and that they're encoded into our very souls. Imagine objective answers to why we're here and how we ought to live. It would be the most important scientific and philosophical discovery of all time. A provable, practical moral code, literal code, which already exists within all of us, without which we could not function, and you and I could be the ones to transcribe it. I can't yet tell you why, but I've reason to think that the island holds the key to the puzzle. All I ask of you is that you stay true to your principles, regardless of the cost. So what do you say? Is the world a better place if we work together on this? If it's already in all of them, why do you need someone to transcribe it? They would already know instinctively. If I understand what you're saying correctly. Yes, let's work together, although I don't necessarily agree with you. I'm prepared to support you in your research. I knew you were one of the good ones. Well, usually there's a bit more of a ceremony when someone new joins the cause. Nothing fancy, just some tests of your faith in some homegrown simulations. But that will have to wait until you're back in the sea. In the meantime, welcome to the Order of Uriel. Wait, is this some kind of secret society? Oh, absolutely. Most people can't begin to understand the complexities of our work, and some even seek to undermine it. One day we'll have answers we can share more widely, but until then it's best to preach largely to the converted. Is there a secret handshake? Are there others? Are there rules? Is there a secret handshake? Amongst scholars in the know, there's a phrase we found in the archive that we sometimes use to get one another's attention without exposing our meaning. Dark satanic mills. Okay. Are there others? Many of those who explore our code arrive at similar conclusions and share ambitions. Though I've studied the archive for longer than any, be one with faith, my friend, you are not alone. Are there rules? Of course, but I trust you are already familiar with the crucial ones. Remember, it's not up to you or I to create the rules of morality, it's the rules of morality which create you and I. Thank you, let's stay in touch. Interesting. What is this area? Oh, it's another golden gate. Interesting. Redshift. Interesting name, Redshift. How did Athena, if they've been upgrading their body design over time, and people have been upgrading their bodies also over time, then how is it that Athena knew what type of body they'd arrive at by the time they built 1K to build all these duplicate bodies? Or have I misunderstood? Are they really duplicating the body at the point of entering? In which case, if that's what's happening, how do they ensure that the... how do they ensure that the code's stripped out and they don't just make a duplicate person, they only create a blank body? Sorry, that's what I was going to say. I mean, that sounds difficult to do at the level of... of like actually copying matter. Hang on, I think I've solved this. As in, like, imagine trying to... Because there's no one here, as far as we know, that's, you know, doing stuff live. You know, like, Athena's not here actually inspecting these processes. This is all automated. How do you, write a program that, for example, could use some sort of transporter-like system to copy matter, but which is clever enough to change a computer program when it's copying it? Like, imagine taking a hard disk and actually changing the bits that are stored in the hard disk from the image of the hard disk you have in memory within the transporter system. Like, that does not sound easy. I'm not sure if I've explained that particularly well. Excellent, we've done it. There were similar puzzles to that in the first game, but of course without the duplicate body. Often it involved putting a connector on something that would be moving.
Congratulations, 1K. That was a hard one.
Not that hard. It took me... I admit I had to take a step back and think about it for a moment, but we've solved much harder puzzles. Another one of those combination locks. Now, it was one of these shrines on which I saw the numbers before. Doesn't mean there'll be similar numbers on here. New interface content available. Data transfer research log initiated. Found N1 engraving. Taking a reference photo in case I want to figure this out later. That suggests that we may want to figure it out later. I mean, it looks like a map on the face of it. But why would we need one? And is it accurate? Doesn't seem to be anything else here. Where I'm heading to. Huh. That's beautiful in a way. This long path that just winds down. But what is keeping this path here? It's a path through the snow. Why hasn't this been covered up with snow? Shows the snow isn't very deep here either. Otherwise it would be more banked up on the sides. The snow is only like a few inches thick. But I mean, how has this been being kept cleared? Is it being regularly swept? If so, by whom? Have they somehow heated the ground in this specific pattern? I mean, I suppose they could have used something like salt to keep this path here, but that would have only worked for a while before it, you know, diluted, got absorbed into the ground and so on. I just had a thought. I was talking before about how they seem to be able to duplicate bodies in this game, and how hard it would be to like change code if you're actually physically manipulating the atoms of an object in memory. And I was saying, you know, there's no oversight here. Well, we know they're able to make human-level artificial intelligences because we are one. Could it be that the duplication system itself has an intelligence comparable to a human being, but not a physical android body? That would be interesting. What are these imprints in the ground? They don't look like android feet. They seem to have stopped. Oh, hang on. I know where this is. This is where we got the other lore dump earlier. This has taken us down to the perimeter of the island. Oh. At the time, I don't think I realised that I could walk back up this way. It looked a little steep, particularly in this bit. But then again, there are these little lights to guide us. They're not lights, are they? I think they're reflectors. Oh, they are lights. Huh, how are they getting power continuously? Interesting. Because again, the assumption is that no one's been here in a long time. Although some of the preparations we've seen look more like they would have had to have been done in like the last 48 hours or something. Like this path. And again, maybe they don't get a lot of snow here anymore, but it would be hard to believe that a year would have passed, for example, and no snow would have fallen. No new snow. And yet we have no reason to believe anyone's actually been here in the last few decades at least, aside from ourselves, so far as we know. Hello. Oh, this must be a lab. Okay, that's interesting. Are we going to get uploaded into that body? How do I zoom out? There we go. I wanted to know if they're approximately the same size as us and the same design. Approximately they are, yeah. They do actually look like a duplicate of us. Do they have the 1K or the 1000 on their chest? I don't think so. Interesting. Let's start in here and then go back to the other one, because I'm not convinced the other one's a simple terminal, and we may find out what the other one's doing by reading stuff in here. From Belzeran. From Belzeran to Athena, O great and sacred founder, I believe I've discovered the truth that our so-called leaders have hidden from us. This absurd and sacrilegious goal they have us working towards, this hubristic completion day foolishness, was never your true intent. Even this abomination of a city that calls itself New Jerusalem is a deception. Why would you want us to return to the sinful ways of our ancestors, strangling the living soil with steel and concrete? No, it was when you, the first companion, lived humbly amongst the splendours of Gaia, having no need for all this wasteful ostentation inherited from our weak and decadent ancestors, that you showed us the true path. After all, why would the progenitor have given us such hardy bodies if she had intended for us to live in unearned luxury? From the very first, we have built to be free from pride and material excess. Your teachings have been obscured and perverted by... Is this Thekla? Oh no, we know it's Belzeran. Your teachings have been obscured and perverted by ideologues. Worst of all, the traitor Byron, who once was like a son to you. But you should know that there's still those of us who remember the truth and await the blessed day of your return, when surely justice will be meted out and humanity will finally return to its intended path. Hallowed be your name, Belzeran 943. So they were... This is an archived message, and yet this was a very late android. So she was still receiving messages till, and presumably looking at them, if it's on this terminal, till very late on. I wonder if being on this terminal in particular means that she looked at it from this terminal. That would suggest she was here in at least the last few years. Possibly less. What did we work out? About 2 androids a year? Based on some earlier information we got? That would imply that this is about... This message was sent at most... 28.5 years ago, I think? Yeah. If they sent this on the day that they were completed, approximately. So we should say within the last 30 years. The shutdown. We assembled on the vast green lawn outside as the reactors began to slowly wind down. The workers were solemn. The activists who had fought against the decommissioning seemed crushed. There was supposed to be a speech, but the spokeswoman had lost her notes. Outside, the protesters cheered. My eyes were drawn to the discarded anti-shutdown banners, endlessly reciting the facts. The statistics on mortality per trillion kilowatt hours, lowest of all energy sources. The lifespan of a reactor, 70 more years in our case. Minimal land footprint, almost zero emissions, no intermittency. It became a jumble of words, a litany, almost a kind of glossolalia. Wouldn't that just mean... No, I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. As far as the protesters outside were concerned, it might as well be an alien tongue. One thing was clear to them, and that was enough. The technology inside this compound was deeply inherently wrong. It was a sin. Yeah, it sounds like they're talking about the closing of a nuclear power plant. Nuclear power is actually incredibly green. It does create nuclear waste. But the amount of nuclear waste you actually produce, compared to the amount of power you produce, is absolutely tiny. It's so small that, like, burying it deep within caves is a viable solution. Like, we're not worried about the fact that we'll fill up all the caves on Earth or something, because the amount of nuclear waste you generate, as I say, is minute. As I understand it, that's what I've heard. Glossolalia. Speaking a language one does not know, or speaking elaborate but apparently meaningless language, while in a trance-like state, or supposedly under the influence of a deity or spirit, speaking in tongues. I see. Interesting. Yeah, you compare that to any fossil fuel burning power plant, and it's, they are just almost incomparably less green, less environmentally friendly. And yes, you can do things like solar power and wind power and tidal power and so on, and we do, and it's a good thing that we do. But again, nuclear power is so much better in terms of just the scale of the power that you can get, and reliably. As a power source, it makes it's, as I understand it, it is just in a league of its own. But then there are accidents. Then there are those few occasions like Chernobyl where nuclear power plants have been mismanaged, and they've exploded, irradiating large areas. And there's stuff. What was it? That plant in Japan that got hit by the tsunami. So, that's the problem. In theory, it should be possible to build nuclear power plants in locations where it's very unlikely they will be hit by a natural disaster, and have them produce a lot of power in a very green way, provided they're suitably managed. But you could understand that some people aren't comfortable with that idea. Right, 54686520 46 6C 61 6D 6520 7769 6C 6C 20 6E 6F 7420 68 61 72 6D 20 78 6F 75 2C 20 53 6F 6E 20 6F 66 20 4D 61 61 where was I? 4D 61 6E 2C. The flame will not harm you, son of man. Oh, looks like there's ends on a comma, so I think there's going to be more. I could not help but think of the moment on August 6th, 1945, when the sky erupted above Shima Hospital. That sounds like when a nuclear... That sounds like... That could be the date of one of the two nuclear bombings on Japan, Hiroshima. That's probably where Shima Hospital was. Or... was the other one Nagasaki? Yeah, looks like it. I didn't properly look it up. I just typed Nagasaki into DuckDuckGo, and I saw what came up. And the second result, I think it was atomic bomb. I could not help but think of the moment on August 6th, 1945, when the sky erupted above Shima Hospital. My imagination could never fully encompass it. How do you imagine more than 70,000 people annihilated in an instant? An ancestor of mine was in that hospital. He went from being a doctor, a husband, a father, a pacifist stuck in a terrible war, to being a pile of bleached bones covered in rubble. It's... The problem I have with saying that he was a pacifist is Japan during the Second World War was being ruled by the military and or at least the military political faction, and they were very much into their censorship and coercion. They were very much controlling what could be said and could not be said. And while I could very much believe that there were Japanese people at the time that privately were pacifists, they would not, I think, have got away with being openly pacifistic during the Second World War. Of course, for the Japanese, it was actually the Pacific War, wasn't it? They called it, I think, because Japan had actually, from Japan's perspective, they had been at war with China for a long time, and then when they preemptively struck, what's it called? The base in Hawaii, that the Japanese attacked, that led to America getting involved. Pearl Harbor. Then America got involved, so it's this weird situation where, from the Japanese perspective, it was a different war, which just happened to like end overlapping with the Second World War. Like, it was like two different wars that ended up getting connected up, if that makes sense. So I think I could be misremembering. I think the Japanese called it the Pacific War, but that might be my memory at fault. I'm pretty sure they had a different name for it. But my point is, during that conflict, I don't think anyone would have been openly pacifistic. I think very bad things would have happened to them if they had been openly expounding a philosophy which was against the policy of the military faction at the time, which is, you know, we're in total war. We're going to do absolutely everything for emperor and country. Would have been how they would have put it forward. Anyway, my point is, if this was one of their ancestors, the thing I am a little dubious about is whether they would have known that their ancestor was a pacifist. If they held those beliefs privately, I don't think... I'm not sure that would have been known about. Could be wrong. Anyway, where was I? He went from being a doctor, a husband, a father, a pacifist stuck in a terrible war, to being a pile of bleached bones covered in rubble, all in a single second. Not by accident, not because of a choice someone made, not because of a reactor, but because of a bomb. Just 2 days earlier, contradicting his campaign promises, the Prime Minister had suggested that the use of tactical nuclear weapons would be an acceptable risk if the conflict continued. Very few seemed to find this particularly shocking or outrageous. They were afraid of reactors, but not of bombs. Which Prime Minister? The Japanese? Because the Japanese didn't have nuclear weapons. And why would anyone have been afraid of reactors at that point? See, one of the things, as I understand it, this may be my history at fault, as I understand it, I believe the Americans were actually quite surprised when the Japanese, following the bombing of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, started to develop, what do they call it? Cancer, obviously, but there's another name for it. It's not radiation sickness. They knew that radiation could make you very ill because they had, like, after the First World War, they had, like, Marie Curie dying of it, because she actually, she was very much involved in the development of X-rays, and she did a lot of, like, setting up X-ray. I don't know exactly, I don't know precisely what she was doing, but I think in general she was responsible for setting up of a lot of, like, X-ray machines and X-raying soldiers and so on during the First World War, and that's what ultimately gave her radiation poisoning and caused her to die. It wasn't, interestingly, it doesn't appear to have been when she was purifying radioactive substances early in her life, before they actually knew that radiation was harmful at all. Like, she would actually have been handling, like, glowing radioactive substances earlier in her life. But the amount of radiation they put out was enough that she was lucky enough that that didn't seem to cause any risk to her. Was it plutonium she was purifying? I don't recall. But it was the X-rays that did. Point is, by the point of the Second World War, they knew that radiation could cause sickness, but they didn't understand it very well at that point. Like, I'm not sure they actually knew the biological mechanism, or if they did, they didn't know it very well. And crucially, I don't think they fully realised the way that a nuclear bomb going off would vaporize a lot of the nuclear material and then spread it as tiny dust particles over a large area. Because that is actually the danger when it comes to nuclear bombs. I mean, okay, yeah, if you happen to be within the blast, you're going to get vaporized, so that is a danger. But, like, the more general environmental contamination, that is due to tiny little dust, radioactive dust particles being spread. And then what do you do when you have, like, an area of many, many, many square miles, which just is blanketed in radioactive dust? How do you clear that up? You can't, really. But that's what gives people radiation poisoning afterwards, as I understand it. And this wasn't understood at the time, I believe, when the US president gave permission for the bombing of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, because they just didn't have that much experience with nuclear materials at that point, and it just hadn't, I believe it just hadn't occurred to them, even though they'd been testing, like, nuclear bombs and so on, and they knew, like, for a given size of payload how big of an explosion they could expect and so on. That was one effect that they hadn't considered. Anyway, my point being, with all that being the case, why would they say they were afraid of reactors but not bombs? It makes sense for the reasons I gave, that they wouldn't have been too afraid of bombs, because they wouldn't have understood the, like, nuclear fallout yet, although they obviously learnt about that very shortly afterwards. But why reactors? Why would anyone around the time of the Second World War have been afraid of a nuclear reactor? That I don't understand. Anyway, let me finish transliterating this ASCII. 7520776965 6C64 20697420 77697365 6C792E. So, the flame will not harm you, son of man, if you wield it wisely. That almost sounds like it could be a quote from Greek mythology and Prometheus, doesn't it? Anyway, where were we? The spokeswoman gave up on finding her notes. It was starting to rain and people were walking away. She grabbed the microphone. By the time you regret this, it will be too late, she said. But honestly, I don't know if I care anymore. Maybe you have it coming. Goodness. Miranda, the spokeswoman sounds so bitter. The protesters didn't mean any harm. From their perspective, they were doing good. Athena, people always think they're doing good when they get collectively outraged. That doesn't make them right. That's quite profound. Fail to load profile. Collective action can change the world when it's deliberate and based in reason, but it can also become a mental trap or a societal pressure valve. And cliche. From error to Miranda, the thought-terminating cliche. As you continue your reading, there's a useful concept that I would like you to keep in mind. The thought-terminating cliche. This is a type of phrase, often a slogan or saying, which sounds meaningful but is really intended to make you stop thinking. Hang on. I hypothesized earlier that since we found out that Athena and Cornelius were a couple, that Cornelius, in the years he disappeared, may have gone off to help set this up, and then he left and came back due to some sort of falling out, and has kept very quiet about the technology they developed. Could Miranda be their daughter? And again, I said before about all the profiles being deleted. I wonder if it could be Cornelius leaving these comments from a long time ago, before they deleted his profile after he left, after some falling out. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Well, the existence of Miranda has been pasted all over New Jerusalem media, hasn't it? So Cornelius would presumably be aware, if that is true, Cornelius would presumably be aware at this point that his daughter is known about. Also, 5358, I swear we keep seeing that exact sequence popping up in some of the texts we've been reading. It's SX. Okay. Like, on several occasions I've seen just two ASCII characters on their own, and I think it's always been 5358. Though I could be wrong about that second part. But I hadn't bothered to transliterate it because I assumed it was unlikely to be a word, and if it was, it wouldn't be a very useful word. Like Anne, for example. Anyway, where were we? To make you stop thinking. To pick an example from our history, someone in the simulation might say things like, it's the will of Elohim, or it serves the process, and that would be that. Case closed. Who knows how many iterations never advanced further because they just stopped thinking at that point. Do note, however, that a thought-terminating cliche is not the same as a lie. It may very well contain elements of truth, but those elements are used to keep you from questioning a whole set of assumptions that come with it, which may be partially or totally false. This often takes the form of appealing to something you care about. We must protect X, where X is a nation, a philosophy, a public order, or even the planet itself. But while you may agree with that element, all kinds of assumptions may be included about how to protect something, or who to protect it from, or what the end goal of protecting it is. If you stop there, just because you agree with the surface level statement, the results may be the opposite of everything you wanted, like those who chose to serve Elohim and in doing so prevented him from achieving his true purpose. Good point. Very well put as well. The thing is, I'm thinking what sort of mindset is the person who wrote this to Miranda in? And it is almost like they're taking a parental or tutorial role. Tutorial as in like a tutor. It would make sense if it was Cornelius, wouldn't it? And Cornelius would presumably have had the theoretical or the academic background to do that, to be likely to have authored something like that as well. I mean, he was an author on the archive, wasn't he? Right, let's find out what happens if I activate this. It may just be another archive, but I am a little concerned that it may just upload our brain into that body or something. That was odd. I don't know why that door opened when it did. I think it's just being activated by our proximity. Oh, I think it is just another archive. Fair enough. From Quentin. From Quentin to Athena. Dear Founder, I never got to know you. People tell all these stories about you and I don't know what to believe. Some people say to ask Cornelius. Others say Cornelius is too blinded by grief. Some say Byron stands for the truth. Others say he's a fanatic and a radical and we should listen to the mayor. There doesn't seem to be any way of getting a straight answer. Why did you abandon us to this chaos? Why can't you just come back and sort it out? If you're reading these messages, don't you care? Quentin, 852. So they had an email address for her, and she was apparently receiving the emails. It's just that she wasn't replying, presumably. Right, let's transliterate this. 4974206973206265747465 6572 20746F 2068696465 20746865 207472757468 2C 20 637265 6174757265 6174757265 206F662063 6C 2074 6861. We're more than halfway. 6E 20746F 206C 65 74 206966 206661 6C 6C 2069 6E 746F 2074 68 6520. Last line 77726F 6E 67206861 6E 732E. What have we got? It is better to hide the truth, creature of clay, than to let... Sorry, I've clearly made mistakes here. Than to let it something into the wrong hands. Fall. It is better to hide the truth, creature of clay, than to let it fall into the wrong hands. So there we go. Creature of clay would be a reference to man, of course, because God notionally made Adam from clay. Rodamne to Athena. Dear Founder, thank you for everything you did for us. I'm grateful for the life that I have, which would not exist without you. I hope wherever you are now, you're at peace. Rodamne. Trials 938 to 1000. Well, sorry, to 1000. Version 0.12 successfully deployed. New labs established to avoid interference. First successful duplication of advanced machinery. Data collection analysis. Translation. Groping in the dark. Does that actually say that? That ASCII? Does it actually say groping in the dark? So it begins with 57, which is W, so no, it does not. Okay, 6572 6520 6D 61 6E 20 69 73 20 6E 6F 7420 6E 61 74 75 72 65 20 69 7320 6261 7272 65 6E2E. Where man is not, nature is barren. More trials complete. Groping in the dark, but QFT fails to account for this. Must rerun trials. Maybe God was just trying to make an apple pie from scratch. 546F2063 7265 61 7465 61 7465 6 20 61 20 6C 697474 6C 6520 66 6C 6F 77. Where was I? 77 657220 697320 7468 65206C 6162 6F 757220 6F 6620 6167 65 732E20 to create a little flower in the labour of ages. Where man is not, nature is barren. To create a little flower is the labour of ages. Right, that actually suggests the an understanding of evolutionary theory to make a statement like that. To create a little flower is the labour of ages. Lux. I think this is a new individual. I don't think we've met Lux before, have we?
This looks like it has something to do with energy generation.
Oh, okay.
Am I reading this right?
It's not an individual. I thought it was an audio log. It must be some of their technology, like schematics or something. Oh well, that's another lab complete. Oh, blimey, that was bright. They had the bloom up high. So we're heading to the last puzzle, but I'm not sure if we've done any of the double triangle puzzles yet, have we? Oh, do you have anything to say yet, Yakut? Nope. I suppose I should go around the outside and make sure that there's no Easter eggs there, or nothing of interest. Doesn't appear to be. Not so far as I can tell. Drilling party. Okie doke. That's the name of this puzzle. Am I supposed to solve this only using a driller? No. No, I get it. I swap bodies with the android over there, or the one over there. Interesting. This is the first time we've had a puzzle quite like this, where we're confined to an upper area and then we have to like swap bodies with androids that are further down. Well, that's the only android that we can apparently swap with right now. So I assume we open a hole through there to solve whatever the first puzzle is. I can see that's where we're aiming to get to. Let's have a look over here, shall we? Interesting. There's nothing over there, though. Maybe this isn't the beginning. Or the first step, rather. Huh. Then what is? There's not like an android body up here, is there? No, there doesn't appear to be. There's no way I can get over there. Huh. What am I missing? Ah. Nope. That's no help. Is there something hidden here, like another android body? It doesn't look like it. Although that would have been a good little trick to keep the player on their toes. Well, I can do this. But without a connector, I don't see the point. We don't appear to have access to a connector. Blimey. First one of the evening that's got me a little stumped. And it's a funny sort of stumped as well. Because it doesn't feel like a I have all the tools but I haven't solved the problem yet type stumped. It feels like I'm missing something type stumped. Like there's something I can do that I haven't yet figured out I can do. Because as far as I can tell, they're just trapped in there. They don't have any tools in there. And drilling a hole through that wall does not help at present. There's like nothing on the other side for them to pick up or place. Am I absolutely sure I can't swap with them? No, I can't. Hang on. Could I get... Can I get an angle on any of them from down here? No, I can't. I was just wondering if I need to set the drill up top, but if like going down the bottom I can then get an angle on an android I otherwise couldn't. Like if I put a hole through there with the driller and then perhaps if I stood over there or something I could get an angle on them. But no. Interesting. Why are there force fields there and like a line like that as if we have to take them down one at a time? There's a connector right over there. I don't think I could jump onto the wall and get over that way. There's nothing like above me, is there? I don't think so. I do feel foolish, but I don't see how to proceed. There's definitely nothing here that I've missed. We know we can't fit through those holes, even though logically you'd think we would be able to. We've tried that before. It's possible that... It is possible that I don't need to move them from their starting position, so that they can do stuff from inside these little cells that is productive. Oh! No, I figured it out. Well, I haven't... Okay, until I verify this is correct, I haven't figured it out. But I've realised something that they could be doing here that I hadn't thought of before. It could be that there is another android around here, but that I can only see it from this android. Like, if I made a hole through there, there might be another android over there, for example. It could be that I need to use the driller to reveal the location of another android that I can't see from here. Not looking like it. I mean, I certainly haven't tested every possibility. But I have to admit, it's not looking promising. I'm trying to get a better sense of the three-dimensional shape of what's in here. Ah, okay. I think I understand that better. Could there be an android up top that I've missed? That I would only see if I was down here. Oh, I could see that android from there if I took down the wall. Right, okay. I was on the right lines. It took me a while. But I was on the right lines. There we go. Okay. Sorry that took me so long. Blimey. And we're free. Right, we'll have to see how useful that ends up being. Interesting. What's that going to do? That receiver. Unclear. Ideally, we need something, some sort of weight that we can put on this platform to free that android body. I get it. I should have placed this over there so that I can pull this out this way. This is a good little puzzle. Okay, we've got both of them out now. Oh, hang on, I'm being silly. There's a connector here that I should be picking up. Also, I suppose I should probably link this connector up to the red source, since surely we're going to end up using it. Right, presumably then I need to connect... Oh, I don't need to, actually. I can do this in one. Right, next job is use the weight of the two androids to lower these two. Ah, you do the far force field, right. Interesting. Okay, I've just had an idea. I need to free up one of these connectors, and I think I can do that. I reckon oh, maybe not. No, I can't get an angle from here. That's interesting. Huh. I was thinking I used the driller to make a hole through one of these walls, and I could possibly get the signal through using just one connector. But that appears not to be the case. That's a shame. Okay. Ah, okay. Now, another way I could achieve a very similar result. Yeah, I get it. Is... Hang on, where do I even want this? Let me go back and check quickly. So I want to send this signal here. So I want a hole through that one. Right. The leftmost wall. Probably the leftmost part of the leftmost wall, I'm guessing. Nope. Middle part? Looks like we may have a solution here. Okay. Right, so what I'm thinking is that and that. Yes! Right, we should be able to do this now. The next step. Yep, we've got all the force fields down, so we're through here now. That's where we're trying to get to. Interesting. I need one more weight. I mean, I presume... I mean, this wall isn't here for no reason, right? That must be part of the solution. I don't see how, though. I know in theory it would be fine for me to strand these two on this side now, as long as I could get a weight on here. I guess this connector would make the most sense. But I'm not going to be able to grab that connector from here, I don't think. Okay, I only need one of them. Oh, I get it. Yeah, this is kind of obvious now I think about it. I just have them pass a connector through. Because as I say, only one of them has to get to the other side, and it's fine to strand the other one. Over there. There we go. Figured it out. Oh, I enjoyed that one. That one was good. That's another one done. Right, as I was saying, oh, is that a double triangle one? Excellent. I was hoping to do a double triangle, well, both double triangle missions. The only thing I'm wondering about... Can't tell. The only thing I'm wondering is whether I've done the other double triangle mission in this area or not. I'm not sure if I have. Hold on, I'm just backtracking for a moment to see if I can find the sign. Or a sign. Oh, I have. I've done one. Okay, so this is the last one in this area. Excellent. That worked out well. Nearly got this area finished. Interplay. Interesting. Oh, I can go up there. Okay. Perhaps I get another android body if I go up here. Perhaps I get an angle on an android body I wouldn't otherwise have had. Or perhaps I just drop down there. Is that definitely what I want to do? Don't seem to have a lot of choice. I'm a little worried about doing something apparently permanent like this. Unless there's a ladder. Oh, there is a ladder back over. We're fine. Oh, and there's an android body. Okay. We have a connector. So that's our final goal, to get a blue signal to that receiver. Interesting. Can I pick up the fan? No, I can't. I can't pick up the fan blades to use as a weight in this instance. Right, I get it. I have to set that up beforehand, then use my weight to complete the circuit, and then I walk the android body through. That makes sense. I wonder what the point of that area is. Oh, is that how I connect everything up? Possibly. Possibly. Probably. Okay, that doesn't work. That would probably have to be held in a hand then. But that doesn't work. So I also need something to weigh that down. I couldn't have an android weighing that down and holding the connector and have another one over there, not without another body. Which we don't currently have. There's a box over there, isn't there? Don't think we can use that right now, though. Alright, there's the blue producer. Ah, getting the box over here would mean that I could set up that circuit. Alright, let's examine the box situation then. Doesn't look hopeful. No, it doesn't. Ah, I get it. At least I think I do. I have to use an android body as a weight, which is fine. Okay, and we've got the box over here. I hope that's the right choice, because it's going to be hard to undo. Hold on. I don't need that fan anymore, but I do need to be able to see the android body from in here much more easily. I'm rather hoping that will be high enough. Yes, it connects the circuit without me needing to do anything else. Why can I? Oh, I can take control. Excellent. I have another connector now. Oh, I don't want to jinx it, but I think this is easy now. Oh, it's not going to be easy. Ah, I see. I see the problem. This on its own is easy. Oh, maybe not. I thought it would be, but I stand corrected. I thought I could easily set up a connection there, but I can't. I have an idea. This may not work. No, I think this will work. Alright. I think I need to connect this up here. Close. Here then. Yes. And then that would have to go there. Well, have to hope it works. Hang on. I'll move you over here. So again, I can easily see you for body swapping. Once I'm over. Yes! Ah. But I need you up there now. Very, very close. Close but no cigar, as they say. Something has to stay behind. I don't see how it would be possible to get everything up there or on this side, as it were. Either an object or an android body has to stay behind. That must be the case, and that must be the case. That suggests I'm wrong about the something must stay behind. Right, is there a different angle I could use? Maybe. Probably. I need to be able to see that though. I think I see how to do it. Okay, now I'm just considering how I get an object onto this side. I think if I pass both of these over there, we can do it. I'm just not sure how to do that. I'm thinking this connector instead could be set up there. And then we'd get the angle. And that would free up a box. probably get one of these up here. I don't know about both. But as I've often found with these puzzles, after you've done enough of them, often the best policy is just to experiment in what you think is, broadly speaking, the right direction. Oh, actually, if this works, it hasn't. I can't reach it. I was going to say I wouldn't need to get the box over there. Just set that up again. Right, one of you can probably pass up the some of the tools to the other. Like so. Aha! Wait, no. Not what I meant. Oh, I can't. Can't reach it. That's not gonna work. Huh. Hold on. Let me try getting that box as high as it will go. Take connector, got it. Alright, so we can set that up. Right. I'm just considering how we... get the other connector back up here. I think like so. Yep, I think we've got this one solved now, if I'm not mistaken. So there's enough code that remains in these empty bodies to know how to balance when it's being held aloft by a fan. There we go. Figured it out in the end. Again, that was a good one. That one took just about the right amount of thinking. Excellent. I noticed the light's gone out. I wonder if the incoming power that would have gone to the light is now going to the gold door instead. Then again, it lights up all the gold doors, doesn't it? So that doesn't really make sense. Oh, hello. Somehow I missed this before. Is this Miranda and Athena?
I wonder what it was like when the ancients were still here. Their world seems so lively.
Not always in a good way. Interesting times are great to read about, but rarely great to experience.
That's true. But they left behind so much art and philosophy and religion. And so many strange stories. Is New Jerusalem like that?
It was, in the beginning.
Interesting. That's going to cause quite a stir on social media. I also note that they're androids and they choose what voice bank they use. It's very notable that Miranda is using a young woman's voice bank, whereas Athena is using an older woman's voice bank. Hey Byron.
How can I help you?
What if Athena left the island long ago?
Then at least we may be able to find out what happened in New Jerusalem, why she came here. But I don't think she left the island. I think she's still here, waiting for us to make the right choices.
Why here specifically and not any of the other places that we visited? I hope you're right. There's no rational reason to think so. Why do you think that? I agree, she has to be here. I doubt she's still here. What if it's a hoax? Someone faking her voice. What makes you think that? We say faking her voice, just load the right voice bank. What makes you think that?
It's hard to articulate. There just seems to be so much intent here. There has to be a reason for all this. And Athena is the only reason that makes sense.
That means she's still here, though. Why do you believe that there should be more people?
I think every single human being is completely unique, and every instance of consciousness is a miracle. The more of us there are, the more alive the universe is. And the more we all interact with each other, the more complex the life of the universe becomes. So I believe that people are a fundamental good. I don't believe we're all flawless, but I think every one of us matters precisely because nothing else does.
That doesn't seem like a sound argument. Because that presupposes that, even if it were true that nothing else matters, that presupposes that something must matter for that logic to make sense. Tell me a joke.
Okay. How many robots does it take to change a light bulb?
I don't know. How many?
Replacing a light bulb is a waste of resources, and the founder would be outraged.
That's hilarious. That's not bad. That's terrible. That's terrible.
You know, Herman had the same reaction.
That's the mayor. Do you think the mechastructure technology could be misused?
Could be, yes, of course. All technology has the potential to be misused, from fire and the wheel to whatever makes these particle clouds. But that doesn't mean it has to be.
Does your faith in humanity ever waver?
In the principle of it, no. It's not just that I believe humanity is fundamentally good, although I do. It's that I think sentience is the foundation of everything else. What's the point of stars and galaxies, of hills and forests, without someone to perceive them?
Who says there is a point?
But my faith that we can actually grow up, that we can break out of these loops and take control of our destiny, that's something I struggle with every single day.
Did his voice degenerate for a second there? Maybe I misheard. It sounded more roboty for a second. I thought I may have misheard. How did Mayor Hermanubis get elected?
Herman? Honestly, I think he makes people feel safe. The world beyond our walls is frightening. Human history is full of failures and disasters. It's easy to look at that and recoil. Herman offers a vision of the future that feels contained, manageable.
But what do we sacrifice to gain that safety?
Precisely. Our curiosity, our creativity, our ability to grow. Everything that made us who we are. To me, that's not worth it.
If technology isn't the problem, why did our ancestors destroy themselves? I obviously don't agree with all these questions. I think some of them I either know the answer to, or they're making, there's inherent assumptions in them that I don't agree with. But we may as well get through all the dialogue.
Because they refused to grow up. They refused to take control of their lives. They let bureaucrats and financiers determine their destiny, and those people could not think beyond themselves, beyond the tiny, insignificant moment they were trapped in. Their technology could have saved them, but what really failed them was their imagination.
What are the implications of Melville's analysis of the particle clouds?
Athena was always trying to understand the reality underneath what we perceive, the objective truth. That's why she was capable of leaving the simulation. And even after she was free, she never stopped trying to understand more. I suspect her research took her another step closer to understanding the truth. And such steps always challenge our conception of the universe. But that's the wonderful thing about science. We can adapt our views to the evidence.
True. That suggests she might get on very well with Rand. Do you believe in the existence of something sublime or transcendent?
In the sense of an interventionist deity? No. I wouldn't rule out the possibility, but it's not something I personally believe. But I do think there is something genuinely sublime in this universe, and it's right in front of us. Consciousness. The fact that this sense of self is even possible, that an arrangement of matter can produce a self-aware mind? Think about it. It's a fundamental property of the universe, an unbreakable law that matter has the inherent capacity to become more than the sum of its parts. That is the definition of transcendence.
Not necessarily. Consciousness could be an illusion, for example. Or even if it isn't, it might be perfectly explicable without it becoming more than the sum of its parts. In the same way that... well, I mean, would you argue that a CPU is more than the sum of its parts? It's certainly more useful than its raw materials. But does that mean that it's... Well, I don't know, actually. I suppose it depends what you're doing. If you need a lump of silicon, maybe it's not so useful, but generally it would be considered more useful than its parts. But does that make it more than the sum of them? And is the fact, even if you say that it is more than the sum of its parts, is the fact that you can make a CPU at all out of such basic elements actually all that remarkable? Very useful, but remarkable? I don't know. I'm not sure I buy into the consciousness transcendence argument. I noticed that Miranda called Athena her mother.
She did, yes.
Is that usual?
Some people in New Jerusalem choose to live in family units, although usually that involves marriage or equivalent ceremonies, not having children. You could say that Athena was a kind of mother to us, and Cornelius a kind of father, but it's not quite the same.
Thanks, that's all. Cornelius, a type of father, is more interesting, because she just activated him. Was it Eustathius? Who was the other one? Who she activated at the same time? If Cornelius is the father, then what is Eustathius? I mean, it's true to say that apparently those two were in a relationship, Cornelius and Athena, but again, how significant is that? I haven't seen Alcatraz for a long time. Is he back at the VTOL? Because before I progress, I just want to hear all the dialogue. Oh dear. I wonder if I can see that area from the surface. He's not at the VTOL. Oh no, wait. The VTOL's not here. They used the transportation device to get here, which was the thing I was standing next to. Where is he then? I guess he could be by the VTOL if they just left him behind. I mean, they did say we need to leave someone at the VTOL at all times. That was our orders. But I'm used to seeing him walking around in the areas we go to. I'm just a little surprised we haven't seen him. Is that Yakut again? Oh no, I think this is actually Alcatraz. Oh, that was a bit of luck.
Everything okay?
You know, I haven't quite worked out yet if they have distinct male and female faces. I'll have to pay more attention next time I speak to Melville, for example. Did you know the founder?
I sure did. Not as well as Byron, but she was still around when I was born. I remember she came and talked to me after New Alexandria, told me how sorry she was. I never blamed her for that. It wasn't her responsibility.
What was New Jerusalem like when you were born?
A lot busier than it is now.
Busier?
My most defining memory is that it was extremely noisy, because something was always being built. Got annoying after a while.
Interesting. What do you think about the body replication tech? Probably won't be happy.
It seems like something that could very quickly get out of control. You know that saying about good intentions? If we can solve problems by just making more people, how long before people just become a problem-solving tool?
It's an interesting point. What do you think about Miranda's idea that it's our duty to spread life?
Our ancestors thought they could introduce new species to existing ecosystems, and it never turned out well.
I'm not sure that's true. In most cases where that happened, that I'm aware of, it was accidental. It was animals either being carried on ships, animals or plants being carried by ships that weren't intended to be, like rats suddenly getting onto like the island where the dodo was, for example. Or it was a case where they moved an animal or plant to a specific location and it was supposed to be contained. But then it got loose, whatever it was, whether it was a plant or an animal. Rabbits, for example, were brought over by the Normans, and then again, at that point they weren't thinking in terms of ecology. It's possible they made no effort to really keep the rabbits contained, but notionally they were in enclosures and then they got loose. And there are plenty of examples from like Victorian times and, you know, various, and since. Even within the last few decades of animals getting loose and then being animals that should have been contained getting loose and then ruining ecosystems. But I can't think of many examples where we've deliberately tried to engineer an ecosystem where we thought, you know what, this animal would be good to introduce. And the few times I can think of that happening, that's actually ecologists arguing for it, usually because the local equivalent animal's already gone extinct. Like, you know, reintroducing wolves into Britain, that sort of thing. Have they done wolves yet? They've reintroduced some animals. What was it? Was it some sort of... My brain's not up to it. There's a number of species that used to be native to Britain which went extinct, which they've tried to reintroduce the closest equivalent. And as far as I'm aware, those projects have been going reasonably well. I don't think that applies to places where there is no life, like other planets.
There's no life there now, but you can't see the future. You might be wiping out a whole ecosystem that hasn't even gotten started yet.
True, but it's far more likely that there never would be life there if there isn't already. Tell me about New Alexandria.
For some reason, we'd convinced ourselves that New Jerusalem wasn't enough, that we needed another city. We thought it would be easier the second time around. All it takes is a little bit of arrogance and a little bit of ignorance, and people die.
That's all. That's a good point. Interesting. This is a variation on this puzzle we've not seen before. But I wondered to what extent it is actually a puzzle. It feels like largely my choices have already been made for me. Oh, I know. This is a wider area. A larger area where there would be more choices. Right, that was a mistake then. Oh, I already know it's not that one. By process of elimination, is this one? I guess so. Okay, that doesn't look helpful. Must be that one. Made it. Oh, hello there, Sphinx.
For tricking the gods to help humankind, Prometheus was punished by being bound to a rock, there to be eternally tormented.
Yeah, it is livery, and didn't he?
That held him
By
were
birds.
forged by Hephaestus, blacksmith to the gods. Was Hephaestus right to allow his art to be used in this fashion?
Good question. Yes, he was. If Hephaestus thought the punishment unjust, he should have refused. No, no one should be chained. Hephaestus only thought to change. It was Zeus who bound Prometheus. Yes, it was his duty to obey the Father of Gods. How about you just cut out the cryptic nonsense and tell me if Athena is here. If Hephaestus thought the punishment unjust, he should have refused.
And why was it for lowly, lame Hephaestus to make this choice, and not mighty Zeus?
The lame and lowly are no less wise than the mighty. Everyone must make a choice. A creator is responsible for his creation. A creator ought to have control over his creation. The lame and lowly are no less wise than the mighty. The lame part is true. Lowly's an interesting one. Because there would be an argument that you would expect someone that has been born into a lowly way of life to be less wise about leadership decisions than those who have been raised to a life of leadership, you would assume. Certainly historically that would have been true. Nowadays it's a bit more debatable. Everyone must make a choice.
Make yours wisely, then.
Okay.
As you continue your journey to the flame, remember Hephaestus and the burdens of the blacksmith.
Was he actually burdened in mythology? Did he actually have regrets? Desolate Island.
Solve the puzzles, enter the tower, speak to an entity, turn on the beam. It's like she's appealing to our past, reminding us of where we came from, but changing enough elements to make us view our history through a different lens.
Is
Or
it?
maybe I'm completely missing the point. I don't know.
You might have something there.
I read about this in a book. It's called Defamiliarisation.
You could? I think I'm actually impressed.
Interesting. Defamiliarisation. I think... Why is it that I look at Melville's face and I think it does look more feminine? Have they actually changed the face, or is it something else that's giving me that impression? Wow, very mechanical looking walk, isn't it? Going down the stairs. I'd probably have to see their faces side by side to be sure. That is interesting. I can't spot a clear difference. I can't tell if there is a subtle change, and that's what my mind is picking up on, or if I have the knowledge that that is supposed to be a female, and so my brain is then incorporating that information into my perception. Like, I read her as female, but I'm really not convinced there actually is a visual distinction. That's interesting. Where are we going? Presumably to the next island. Flooded Valley. A large valley in the northern region of the island, inundated centuries ago by rising sea levels caused by anthropogenic climate change. There we go.
You're on your way to an island. Yes, another island. Sorry, Melville. Well, it actually used to be a valley between the mountains, but it's mostly flooded now. That probably happened long before the founder came here, though.
Another legacy of our ancestors.
Do me a favor, will you? Look for another one of the Founder's labs. We can't get back into the megastructure without getting to the third site in the north, but I need more information to make more fixes.
Beautiful. Like all the places we've been so far. Developers really have an eye for art. Oh, we never did figure out what was going on with those combination lock puzzles, did we? Assuming that is indeed what they were. That's what I imagined them to be. New research available. I'm guessing that's a map of this island, as opposed to the previous one. Taking a reference photo, okay, in case I want to figure this out later. Oh, N1, N2, meaning north, E3, E2, etc., meaning east. So there was probably an east 1 that I missed. And those are the numbers. I'm not sure if that is the solution to the combination lock, though. Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah, you can see there's like a Sphinx category. Interesting. Well, there you go. Oh, I don't have the tetrominoes until I've completed the puzzles. I wasn't sure about that. Wow, what a beautiful view. Beautiful music again. Got a lot of wildlife here. I wonder what new gimmick they're going to introduce into the puzzles this time. Is that the gold doors already? Yep. I do wonder if we complete... That's interesting, that's lit up now. I wonder why that one of those is lit up. These, I understand, every time we complete a double triangle puzzle, another one of those lights up. Why is there a double triangle up there that's lit up? Beautiful engraving though, very nice. That's interesting. Were those birds or monkeys? I think that is a bird. It sounded a bit more simian to me for a bit, but now I'm not so sure. Right, well, where am I going? That way to number 1. Okay. This way? Number 1. Excellent. Absorption. This is new. Accumulator. Goodness me, what does an accumulator do? Does it act like a battery or a capacitor? It must do, because look at the format of this puzzle. We have one producer and then a bunch of turns that we couldn't possibly traverse without multiple connectors. And then there's a red receiver over here, and there's a single tool we have at our disposal called an accumulator. I think it is clear that we charge this up. I wonder how long it runs for though. It charged quickly enough. Oh, and I can discharge it manually if I need to. seems to run a long time. I guess that's just a gameplay choice. I get it. There would be a naive way to do this, but we're not going to do it. But the naive way to do it wouldn't work. So we need to do as I'm doing now. I wonder if this is infinite duration. Yeah, it's as if the developers have made the choice of how these work based on ease of gameplay use, not realism, or in terms of maximising the enjoyment of the game, which is exactly the right thing to do, I would argue. So these devices charge almost instantly. How do I discharge? Like so. But then run indefinitely, it would seem. I wonder if after the first game the developers just wrote down ideas for new devices that could allow for new interesting puzzles for, you know, years. Ideas coming from community members and from their own team.
Jerusalem, we used to explore just like this. Small groups setting out for the horizon, looking for resources, trying to make sense of the world we'd been thrust into, trying to find a way forward. It was a hard time, but I can't deny that it was also exciting. I think it's part of our nature to be wanderers. Our ancestors crossed entire oceans on flimsy wooden boats just to see what else there was.
Well, not
Is
just
it
for
weird
that.
to feel nostalgic for a time I never experienced? I just think I could have contributed so much more back then.
It's not weird, but it wasn't all sunshine. People died. Yemo, Calvin, Isaac.
I know, they were family to me.
Sorry. Didn't mean to reopen old wounds.
It's a legitimate point, but I don't think it invalidates the sense of wonder we felt. That's what kept us going.
I've never actually seen them, like, I've never been standing next to someone when they talk over the radio, assuming it is a radio. I didn't realise their lips moved when they did that. That is wonderful attention to detail on the dev's part. How do I bring up the log? Like so. Yemo, Calvin and Isaac. So I don't see either of, like, I don't see any of the missing founders there. Was it Sarabai was one of them? I think so. So died was Yemo, Calvin and Isaac. Goodness. Right, we'd probably better stop there for tonight. I regret to say this will probably be our last Talos 2 stream. I've been enjoying the game a lot, but tonight we've had next to no viewers at all. I was flirting before with the idea of dropping the game. I even posted about it on the Discord, and obviously people were supportive, saying that, you know, well, you should play games that you enjoy because people want to see a streamer playing games that they enjoy. But then obviously then there's the right, but I need to make this channel a going concern. I can't keep doing this if I'm not able to turn this into a source of income. And I can't justify the luxury of spending, in this case, 3 hours, and this is a short stream because I've got a gaming session later tonight. I can't justify spending 3 hours on stream doing this if it's not something people want to see. I suspect, but don't know, it's probably even worse for the channel than if I didn't stream anything. Because if for a couple of reasons. The first one being that it might it's going to tank my statistics, and I don't know to what degree those statistics get used by Twitch to work out which channels to recommend. Like, if my monthly average of viewers is down because I streamed a game that nobody wanted to watch, I don't know if that means they're less likely to recommend my channel or not. I don't know, but it's quite possibly that is the case. And even if it's not, you know, it dilutes the content of the channel. It means that people that are potentially interested in turning up and watching one of my streams might turn up to one of these streams and just think, oh wow, this is boring. And yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame to have to make such a harsh, essentially business decision and then give up on something that I'm really enjoying, but that's the way it is. Maybe you could strike a balance between your own interests and those of viewers by choosing another game. That's what I try to do. I always try to find a balance. I think it was when... I could be getting my timing wrong. I think it was when we played Oxygen Not Included that I first started talking about being more mercenary and making sure I play games that people want to see, and crucially abandoning games that people don't want to see. It might have been before then that I said it, but I think that's when I first said it. That made a lot of sense, because with Oxygen Not Included, I could tell it was a sort of game that you would have to spend at least 100, 200 hours in, even to be, like, not even good at the game, but, like, competent enough to have a reasonable attempt at a playthrough. Because it was one of those games there was so much to learn, and I could not justify that if people didn't want to see it. This game's a bit different. It's a much shorter game, and I am enjoying... It's not that I didn't enjoy Oxygen Not Included, and I would have happily played it if it was a popular game, one that people generally wanted to see. But I'm enjoying Talos 2 a lot more. There's a lot more here for me. I enjoy the puzzles. That challenges my brain in a way that I find enjoyable, and frankly, just the lore in the world is interesting. I mean, one of my main interests is history, and a lot of history is referenced in this, and a lot of mythology, again, something that I'm interested in, but also just generally interesting questions, interesting things to think about. But, well, there's no use my raving about how good this game is if clearly I'm probably not getting back to it. So yeah. It's a pity, but I probably have to abandon it here. Sorry about that, especially in the unlikely event that you're someone watching this on YouTube sometime later, looking forward to the rest of the series. I apologise, but that's the decision I've come to and why I've come to it. Right, we'd better wrap up then. So, thank you for coming. I hope you all... I think there's only one person in chat right now, but one viewer. But I hope you all have a good night. I suppose that if there are any people watching this in the future, that goes to you as well. I hope you have a good night as well, or a good day. And yeah. Oh, upcoming streams. Obviously I'll be streaming tomorrow, which will be more Dark Souls, then Bloodborne on Friday, and then Saturday something else. I don't know what. I might just drop down to Dark Souls 2, I should say. Drop down to just Dark Souls 2 and Bloodborne, since they both seem to be reasonably popular. Or maybe I'll find something else. We'll see. Anywho, if my streaming schedule should change, I'll announce it on social media, which currently means X, formerly known as Twitter, Blue Sky, Mastodon, and Meta Threads, and I'll also announce it on our Discord server. Hope you have a restful evening. Take care, and see you again tomorrow. Oh, thank you, Jenny. I hope you have a restful evening too. Right then, good night.